Thank you very much for having us. This is a great gathering, and it's so great to go around all over the world and speak about Egypt. I just have to say this. All my life, I've identified myself as a proud Egyptian. Unfortunately, there have been moments where there wasn't too much to be proud about. But right about now, I think we've never been more proud in our history of what the Egyptian people have done. And I thank you for giving us the chance to share that with you today. I'm going to give you a little bit of analysis, basically, of why I think this was an internet-based revolution. And a special emphasis on the word based, because I don't want anybody to say that I'm saying this was an internet revolution, because, of course, this was a people's revolution, but it was a people's revolution very much based and accelerated by the internet as a tool. So what do I mean when I say it's an internet-based revolution? It's a revolution that was started, as Alaa said and as many people said, years ago. I mean, this did not start in 2011. Mubarak stepped down in 2011, but this has been in the works for so long. It started accelerating around 2003 with Web 2.0 technology. When we first started having blogs, and I first got introduced to people like Alaa, through his website, through his blog, basically. And you know, at the time, it was a few others like him. And then that number just kept accelerating as, you know, as people got the courage to know that they can actually write anti-government stuff. I mean, that culture was just was non-existent in Egypt for the most part. So this was a people's revolution, and it was a people-powered revolution, and it was a revolution that was accelerated by social media. And I'm going to speak a little bit about a very interesting association or link between social media and traditional media, and actually interpersonal communication as well, because the whole thing altogether is what basically toppled Mubarak's regime. Just a little bit of background, you probably know this, but Egypt is a population of about 80 million. We have a huge problem of illiteracy, and so we only have internet penetration of about 25%. The mobile phone penetration, however, is much higher than that. Almost, 4 out of 5 people in Egypt have a mobile phone, and they use it for all sorts of things. So that pretty much helped us a great deal. Social networks, of course, all over the place, and these were basically the agents that really accelerated things. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of analysis of how I think that happened. This is you on your social network page, be it Facebook or MySpace or whatever it is. You're in the middle of things. You're the center of attention. Everybody else is basically gathered around you. You have the power to befriend whoever you want or block whoever you want. You have the power to say whatever you want, post comments as you like, delete the comments that you don't like if you're really that much of a dictator. But the point is, you're the center of attention, and this is your space, and you can say whatever the heck you want, because this is your space. And that was a culture that we didn't have much of in Egypt. There wasn't any other space. For you guys, it's probably a luxury. So what? You can say your opinion in plenty of venues and plenty of spaces. For us in the Middle East and in Egypt in particular, there was no other space. There was no other venue for people to say what they wanted. And so when that came about, that provided a very necessary space for people to basically learn to express themselves. The other thing is, once you click, literally at the click of a mouse, once you click on somebody else's name on your Facebook page, you immediately become one of the people on the outside of the circle. And there's somebody else on the inside of the circle. And so you have to learn to respect that person if you want that respect to be mutual. If you want to be respected on your page, and if you want others to respect you on their pages, then you have to learn that horizontal pattern of communication. And that was very important, because all our lives we have been communicated to vertically. People talk at us in Egypt. Nobody talked to us or with us. People talked at you. The regime basically talked at you. And that was a chance for us, I think, for a good chunk of the people that came out to Tahrir Square and to every major square in Egypt. That was unconsciously something that they've learned just through communicating on Facebook. How do we talk to each other? How do we listen to each other? How do we figure out what the majority of us might want to do? How do we figure that about in going there? I'm going to show you a few of the pictures that were out in Tahrir and in every other square. And some of them will show you that really even the most traditional of people realized that this was an internet-based revolution. I mean, I've talked to people myself on Tahrir Square, and the beauty really of Tahrir was that everybody was there. There were young people, there were older people, there were children, there were women, there were men, there were rich people, there were poor people, there were Christians, there were Muslims, everybody was on Tahrir Square and in every other square in Egypt. And nobody asked, who are you or what are you? Everybody was just there for this one common great goal of bringing this guy down. Just we want to see this guy leave. And that was the only thing that everybody wanted. But let me tell you, as I said, I mean, this started way with bloggers, but the conversions and the interpersonal communication actually also played a bigger role. I mean, people went out on the 25th of January and they were literally walking down the streets and calling for others to join them. The chant that day was, Ya ahalina ndammu lina, friends and family, come join us. And people were literally, everybody got goosebumps and they were looking up, from their windows and seeing that mass of people moving, and they would literally just come down and join them. It was so amazing to watch this mass of people just getting bigger and bigger and bigger as they moved to every square in Egypt. It was beautiful to watch. I just have some examples here. This is the April Youth movement that started in 2008 when a blogger basically called for people to join even in spirit with the workers of Al-Mahalla that Ala was talking about to help them demonstrate for higher wages. She asked people to just stay home that day, not do anything. Just don't go to work, don't purchase stuff, just try to stay home. She thought maybe 300 people would join the group, and if 30 people did not go to work, she would have felt good about, just spiritually joining in with these people. Little did she know there were 70,000 people on that website. Egypt literally came to a standstill that day. And I think that was a very important moment because it made us realize, oh my God, look what Facebook can do. I mean, this was literally just an event on Facebook. And our revolution was actually the first revolution ever in history that was posted as an event on Facebook with dates and times, 2 weeks in advance. People were hitting, I'm attending the revolution. It was great, and it actually came through. I mean, because for the longest time, people were saying, well, I can click a button, but will I actually go out on the streets when the time comes? And it was beautiful to watch that people actually did go down on the streets. And I'm going to go very quickly through these because I don't have much time left, but I'm going to stop here at the Khalid Said page for more than one reason. Khalid Said is the young man from Alexandria who was brutally beaten by police informants outside an internet cafe a year ago today. So as I speak here now, people are actually standing in all governorates in Egypt commemorating the 1-year anniversary of Khalid Said. This guy is basically Egypt's Bouazizi. This guy is what sparked it in Egypt. Along with Tunisia and along with everything else, we are standing up for this guy. We are not going to let him down. This is, and actually it was quite funny because he sort of has this karma. This page hit 1 million people on the evening that demonstrators were storming the state security offices. And there were literally pictures of the Khalid Said file in their hands. And today, actually, I just updated this presentation. 2 days ago, I had given Mika another version of it, and it was 1,378,000. Today, it's 1,388,000. So they basically gained 10,000 more people in 2 days. This is how big this is moving, and this is what Khalid Said represents for us now. So basically, I talked about how this is a room of one's own. I talked about your horizontal communication thing. The other thing that's very important is the feeling of, I am not alone. When 50,000 people say that they are going out on a demonstration, then probably some of them are going to go. When 100,000 or 500,000 people hit the time attending a revolution, then probably they are going to go. And that's just the power that you feel you are not alone. If you actually go out on the streets, you're going to find other people there. You are not going to be making this on your own. And of course, it was a way to organize. As I said, it was on Facebook 2 weeks in advance. These are the guys that I was telling you about that we also in Tahrir, who are basically saying thank you, Facebook, even though they've probably never touched a computer in their lives. And this was actually taken 3 hours before Mubarak stepped down. Woohoo. But I'm going to end on a small note, if I can take one more minute. I came here from Geneva, where I was attending the United Nations Human Rights Council, where Frank Leroux, the Special Rapporteur on Freedom of Expression, presented his report. And while I was there for a few days, I was lobbying for 2 things. And I'm going to say them because I want you guys to help us to help the world, really, in any way that you can. Number 1, to end the process of military trials for civilians, particularly internet activists, that is now taking place in Egypt. And we need your support as an international community to come to solidarity and show the world that this is not acceptable. This is very important. And number 2 is to call for some kind of a law to actually criminalize blocking access to the internet and hold the head of state personally responsible if that happens in a country. Because it's one thing to block Facebook, but it's another to block access to the whole internet from a whole country. That's just amazing. And it just happened again in Syria a couple of days ago. People seem to think, you know, this is working, let's just do it. And we need the international community to lobby against this and criminalize it as an act of criminal offense for the head of the state if that actually happens in a country. People died in Egypt when the internet was blocked. People died when mobile communications were blocked. And that needs to stop. And I'm just gonna, thank you. I'm just going to reiterate that we are all Khalid Said, and we are not going to stop before we bring about a better future for our country. We are determined to see that happen. Thank you.